Hello guys, this is Charles 1K92 here, and just also known as June65 on the PlayStation Network. Just to let you guys know, so after we kind of done everything, we only have 2 more little submissions to do, and one of these submissions is actually delivery. And he's a very unique looking guy, isn't he?
Thief! Get the bastard!
Thief. Perfect marriage. My letter was just stolen. You look like the man. You look mean business. Find the thief, kill him, and bring the letter back to me. And please don't read it. It's from my wife, Lucia, and she would be very upset. Well, if it's sealed. So who would steal this letter then? Let's check the rooftops just to be sure. I knew it. Looks like we're going to have to use our gun again.
Learn to do that. What skill?
Oh, I can't help it. Let's take a look. As we plan, my husband doesn't suspect. He kept me locked away, yeah, but I...
Well done! I knew I could count on you.
Poor guy, he doesn't even know. Okay, so the last thing is the beat up event. I can't help it. If I want to double assassinate someone, I'm going to do it anyway.
Guard! Stop him! Help! Please stop! I am not the enemy.
After 8 years of marriage, that Figlio de Putana is back with his old woman. Teach him to respect his vows, please!
Sure. Very funky music, innit? So where is this no good husband then? Where are you, bastarde? Is he on the roof?
No need to be shy. Come forward.
I reckon he's on the roof. Don't ask why, but I got an itchy feeling.
Leave this place! Oh, animal! Help!
Come on, you fuck.
Of course. What was I thinking? My wife. I do love her.
You're a little shit, that's what you are.
Oh, man. We have many... Where's the removing shit stains like a uniform? I swear, mercy on this. Noble spices for noble...
No offense, but I didn't think you had them on.
See what my little gallery has got.
You didn't think I had the cash, did you? That's a cheek. Okay, I guess it's time to return back to Montergioni. Does mean going back on myself, but
News from abroad has arrived.
why the fudge not? So we've collected all the Codex pages as we've been going through the storyline, so meh. So at this point of the game, as you've done the thing for the Catalina Sforza, so say like for example you've missed the Codex page, don't worry, because at this point they kind of show up on your map and you just obviously go to the areas and it's kind of very easy to pinpoint who is guarding them. So as you know, whenever you go to this new city, the native guards will always stand to their colours. So Florence is a yellow and red, or predominantly yellow. Tuscany is some sort of a well, it's the same colour as Florence. Romagna is green and Venice is blue and green. But all the guards that defend each one of the positions is the Templar / Borgia kind of guards. So they wear kind of like whitish armour. With a load of black and red. Okay, so now our job is to head back home. Now Leonardo da Vinci is here in the city. Well, I say in the city, but he's more or less here to help and decode the last of the Codex pages. So he moves into Montergioni with you for a short time in order to decode any of the pages left, since the Codex wall is nearly done. So we're just going to collect the chest here just to show how much monies we got. And now we go and talk to Leonardo.
Leonardo.
Ezio, so good to see you. How can I help you?
Haha! You found another one. How exciting!
If you transpose this word and move this line to the left, it's deciphered.
There we go. So it's now finally done. And look, all the assassins are here. Alright. Now, I'm just going to take more time to read to show you what this Codex page has all come up together. So, I have spent days with the artifact now, or has it been weeks, months? I can no longer be certain. The others come from time to time offering food or distractions. They say I should separate myself from these studies. Malik has even suggested I abandon them entirely. But I am not yet ready to turn away. This apple of Eden will be understood. It must be. Is it a weapon? Is it a catalogue? Is it somehow both? He who increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. The philosophy of such a statement I can understand. But for it to be true, literally true? A society that wages war with ideas and information in the place of steel and swords. Its function is simple, elementary even. Dominion, control. But the process, the method and means it employs, these are fascinating. Those subjected to its glow are promised all they are desired. It asks only one thing in return, complete and total obedience. And who can truly refuse? It is temptuous, well, its temptations incarnate. Ugh. I remember my own moment of weakness when confronted by Al-Mualim. My confidence shaken by his words. He who had been like a father was now revealed to be my greatest enemy. Just the briefest flicker of doubt was all he needed to creep into my mind, but I vanquished his phantoms, restored my self-confidence, and sent him from this world. I freed myself. But now I wonder, did I really? For here I sit, desperate to understand that which I swore to destroy. This is why the apple has a tale to tell. I sense the flicker of something great and dangerous. We are all at risk. It is my duty to do something about it. I must not, cannot turn away until I have found the truth. I think I might have... So this shows you a diagram of the assassins fighting the Knights Templar. How to construct the hidden blade. What follows are the three great ironies of the Assassin Order. 1. Here we seek to promote peace, but murder in our means. 2. Here we seek to open minds of men, but require obedience to a master and set of rules. And 3. Here we seek to reveal the dangers of blind faith, yet we are we're practitioners ourselves. I've no satisfactory answers to these charges, only possibilities. Do we bend the rules in service to the greater good? And if we do, what does it say of us? That we are liars? That we are frauds? That we are weak? Every moment I spent wrestling with these contradictions, in spite of all the years I had to reflect. Still, I can find no suitable answer, and I fear that one may not exist. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. Does our creed provide the answer then? That one may be two things, opposite in every way, simultaneously? And why not? And why not proof? We of noble intentions possessed by barbaric means, we who celebrate the sanctity of our life, and then promptly take it from those we deem our enemies? Going through contradiction. Who were the ones that came before? What brought them here? How long ago? Centuries, millennia, longer still? So little remains of them. What drove them out? What are these artifacts? Messages in a bottle? Tools left behind to aid and guide us? Or do we fight for control over their refuge, giving divine purpose and meaning to little more than discarded toys? Robert de Slav may be dead, but his brotherhood survives. Though less conspicuous in appearance, I fear they remain a threat. Where once they proudly walked the streets, making for easy targets, now they retreat into the shadows. It grows difficult to track them. What wicked things will they weave in the darkness? Our work will be all the more complicated for it. Already there are rumours of a movement on Cyprus. I will have to investigate. It made me realise that our tactics too must change. It means an end to our fortress, to our bit tired. To our panache and spectacular displays of public assassinations, we must weave our webs quietly, and we must do so differently than we have done in the past. Though I may ask my brothers now to abandon their rituals, I do not ask that they abandon the creed. This is what makes us assassins, not the removal of the finger, not the false promise of paradise, not the prohibition of poison, our duty to the people, not to custom. If we sneak, we shall sneak. If we must use poison, we shall use poison. If our blades can be used without removal of fingers, we shall not demand they be taken. And we shall not manipulate our initiates with lies and parlour tricks. We shall speak plainly and honestly. We shall be made anew. I thought Ada would be the one to lead me to rest, that I might lay down my blade and live as a normal man, but now I know such dreams are best left to sleep. Her face, I tried to banish it from my mind as I remembered the days and nights during which I chased her Templar captors across the sea. I almost got them in time, almost. If I had only been faster. Instead, I held her lifeless body in my arms, saw her terror reflected in her fixed, unblinking eyes. I hunted each man one by one until all responsible were gone from the world, but there was no joy in this, no satisfaction or release. Their deaths did not bring her back, did not heal my wounds. After all, after that, I was certain I would never again feel for a woman as I had for her. I am fortunate to have been wrong. Why do our instinct insist on violence? I have studied the interactions between different species. The innate desire to survive seems to demand the death of another. Why can they not stand in hand? So many believe the world was created by the hand of a divine power, but I see only the designs of a madman, bent on celebrating destruction and desperation. Our origins seem chaotic, unintended purpose, and being instilled solely by the passage of time, imposed first by nature and later men. Or latter men, however you want to. Over time, any sentence uttered long and loud enough becomes fixed, becomes a truth. Provided, of course, you can outlast the dissent and silence your opponents. But should you succeed and remove all challenges, then what remains is, by default, now true. Is it true in some objective sense? No. But how does one ever achieve an objective point of view? The answer is you don't. It is literally physically impossible. There are too many variables, too many fields and formulas to consider. We can try, of course, we can inch closer and closer to a revelation, but we'll never reach it. Not ever. And so I have realized that as long as the Templars exist, they will attempt to bend reality to their will. They recognize there is no such thing as an absolute truth, or if there is, we are hopelessly under-equipped to recognize it. And so, in its place, they seek to create their own explanation. It is a guided principle, of their so-named New World Order. To reshape existence in their own image, it is not about artifacts, not about men. These are merely tools. It's about concept. Clever of them. For how does one wage war against a concept? It's a perfect weapon. It lacks physical form, yet alters the world around us in numerous, often violent ways. You cannot kill a creed. Even if you kill all its adherents, destroy all its writing. These are representatives at best. Someone, someday, will rediscover it, reinvent it. I believe that even we, the assassins, have simply rediscovered an order that predates the old man himself. Attis, Dionysus, Horus, Krishna, Maria, Jesus. Similar stories colour their lives, too similar. I think divine birthright, crucifixion, disciples, miraculous acts, and resurrection. How is it possible? Perhaps it isn't. Merely a single story told over the ages, borrowed then changed to fit the times, evolving as our tools and language do. Is this tale born of fact or fiction? A bit of both? Could these figures be the same person? Their life extended and transmitted by a piece of Eden? Al-Mu'allam spoke of Jesus as a real person, a mortal who had mastered the arts of manipulation. But what if he was wrong? If these men are real, and if they have walked among us many times before, does it mean they'll come again? Perhaps they're here now. So many questions, and every day even more. This is a reference towards the Sage. I know this might sound a bit crazy, but going along with the names here, it has been speculated that Aita is was potentially, I know this will probably upset many people who could be potential Christian, but along the lines of the game, they somehow say that Jesus was, in the Assassin's Creed universe, Aita, a descendant of the first civilization. So going along the lines of this whole thing of resurrection and reliving a life is technically what a sage does, in some sense. But anyway, let's continue. Now this is talking about the stars and the constellations. The Hidden Blade has been a constant companion of ours over the years. Some would even say it defines us, and they would not be entirely wrong. Many of our successors would not have been possible. Many of our successes would not have been possible without it. Still, the device has begun to show its age, and so I have been researching improvements beyond ending the need to remove one's finger to wield it. The first is the addition of a metal plate that can be used to deflect incoming blows. The other assassins believed it is forged of a new metal, and credit me with discovery the formula, including on this page. It's better that they not know the truth. I have also worked with Malik to describe new methods of assassination from ledges, from hiding places. Basic movement, but critical nonetheless. The third and final improvement is most simple. The provision of a second blade, identical in every way to the first. Should an assassin ever find himself tasked with dispatching two targets, he need only time his strike in such a way that he might reach both at the same time. These blades will be limited in number, since the metals with which we forge them remain difficult to obtain. I will need to think carefully about who shall be allowed to carry two. So you can see like the process of making another hidden blade on both sides, and then the different various methods of assassination throw from the ledge, from above, and then obviously from a haystack. Man seeks dominion over all that he encounters. I suppose it's a natural tendency for us to aspire towards mastery of our surroundings, but this should not include other human beings. Every day, more and more are pressed into service. by deception or by force. Others, though not so familiar imprisoned, are made to feel as if their lives are worthless. I have seen the ways in which men persecute women. Heard the cruel words hurled at those who come here from other lands. Watch as those who believe or enact differently they are made to suffer. We discuss such things often, watching as we do from the spires of Masyaf. What can be done to stop this, to encourage tolerance and equality? Some days we speak of education, believing that knowledge will free us from immorality. But as we walk the streets and see slaves sent off to auction, my heart grows cold. When I see the husband hurl abuse and stones at his wife, insisting she exists only to serve him, my fist clenches. And when I see children torn from their parents so that another man might profit, sent off to suffer beneath the desert sun and die. On these days I do not think that dialogue will make a difference. On these days I can think only of how the proprietors need to die. So from Altair's perspective, seeing men like this don't deserve to live, which he's quite right. Cyprus. The apple is more than a catalogue of which persuades us. Within its twisted, sparkling innards, I've caught glimpses of what will be. Such a thing should not be possible. Perhaps it isn't. Maybe it's simply a suggestion. How to know, how to be sure. I contempted in consequences of these visions. Are they image of things to come, or simply the potential for what might become, or what might be? Can we influence the outcome? Dare we try? And in so doing, do we merely ensure that which we've seen? I am torn, as always, between action and inaction, unclear as to which is either will make a difference. Am I even meant to make a difference? Still, I keep this journal. Is that not an attempt to change, or perhaps guarantee what I have seen? Of all the things I've seen, none trouble me more than the image of the flames. Pillars so tall they seem to pierce into the heavens. The ground rumbles and shudders. Mountains split and crack. Great metal towers splinter, their innards strewn around the ground, and everywhere there was screaming. Choirs so terrible that even now I feel its echoes. What is it? What is this madness I've seen? Is it them, I wonder? Those who came before? Is this where they went? Into the fire? Into the dust? Perhaps a destructive power. Is that what the Templars seek? That they might hold it over us and command devotion? What hope would we have then if they had such darkness in their hands, that they could murder the world? We are obligated to hide, to be silent, to shape the course of history in secret. But some of my brothers and sisters disagree. They grow angry, insisting it's a mistake to shroud ourselves. They say it slows our work. But they do not understand the risk. To expose ourselves now would be too dangerous. I fear we would be branded madmen and attacked. So it goes. So it always has. If there is one thing I know for certain, is that men do not learn by being told. Instead, they must be shown. They must make the connection themselves. If I say unto a man to be kind, to be tolerant, to be open-minded, these words will wither and die long before they affect the change. It would be a waste, and so we must maintain our course. Legend speaks of a golden fleece. Could the two be related? I have further refined them metacular process, allowing for the production of a suit of armor, the like of which the world has never seen. It is possessed of great strength, yet so light as to allow a complete freedom. I alternate between wonder and fear. Here we have crafted something that will surely change the face of warfare, making those who wear it nigh invincible. Perhaps it was a mistake to create these pieces. I think it's best to erase the formulae. What if they were to fall into the wrong hands of our enemies? The risk is too great. Looks a little bit familiar, doesn't it? I have studied the ancient pagan faiths and came before this more recent obsession with a single divine creator. They seem to have focused more on fundamental forces at play in the world around us, and less on the arbitrary moral rules. The sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening. The tides ebb and flow. Grass grows, withers, dies, and then in time emerges from the ground once more. The air turns warm, then cold, and back again. Some hidden energy keeps us fitted to the ground and pulls us back when we attempt to leave it. Each of these movements was represented before by a god or goddess. Each force was given a face, but recognized as something distinct and powerful, which is not to say that there were not connections between these forces, a pantheon of individual spirits, or of rules, invisible hands guiding the process or the progress of the world around us. And so here there was an attempt to categorize, study, explain, and understand the way things work, even if it was flawed, but no more. Now we are asked to succumb to a far more simpler explanation. How naive to believe there might be a single answer to every question, every mystery, that there exists a lone divine light which rules over all. They say it is a light that brings truth and love. I say it's a light that blinds us and forces us to stumble about in ignorance. I long for a day when men will turn away from the invisible monsters and once more embrace a more rational view of the world. But these new religions are so convenient and promise such terrible punishment should one reject them. I worry that fear shall keep us stuck to what is surely the greatest lie ever told. One merely cultivate extracts from various plants found throughout the region. More exotic species can sometimes be obtained from traders and travelers, but their properties are less documented and require further examination. Traditional alchemical implements can be used to distill the poison. Care should be used as certain poisons can be absorbed through exposure through exposed skin. Many are those who have lost their lives to carelessness. One blade should be hollowed according to the specifications listed herein. Deviation may create fractures within the metal, causing the blade to weak and possibly break. And that's the poison blade. What do we make of this map? It appears to contain the entire world, not flat as they claim either, but round, like a ball, like the apple. But how is such a thing even possible? Stranger still are the lands it shows, great patches of the unknown, the unexplored, so many places yet to be discovered. Are there men there? Are they like us? And if not, different how? I should like to know the answers. Perhaps in time I'll have a chance to travel, to chart a course and make my way to these distant lands. So we've only seen the old world so far. A somewhat fairly accurate depiction. Various movements of the creed: running, fast walking, jumping, falling, and so on. Some days I miss my family, or at least the thought of them. I never knew my parents well, despite them both having lived within these walls. It was our way. Perhaps they were sad, though they showed no sign. It was not allowed. For my part, so much of my youth was spent in training. There was little time left to reflect upon the separation. And so when they were finally lost to me, it seemed no different than the passing to two strangers. Al-Mualim had been my father, and his was a weak and dishonoured love. Though at the time it seemed enough, better even, or so I thought. Someday I will have a child. Such is the way of our order, and I will not make the same mistake, nor any who call themselves an assassin. We shall be allowed to love our children, and in turn to be loved. Al-Mualim believed such attachments would weaken us, cause us to falter when our lives were on the line. But if we truly fight for what is just, does love not make such a sacrifice simpler? Knowing that we do so for their gain? It's that Maria woman. I have the answer now. I know the truth. I shall not touch that wretched thing again. Best that no one do. Now or ever. I have tried at least to destroy it, but it will neither bend nor break, nor melt. Oh, the irony! I am certain if I asked, the apple would tell me what needs to be done. But even this promise is insufficient. Always it holds one more gift to give. I must refrain, so it shall be sealed. Well, we will take it to the island. Once theirs, now ours. There is a treasury there, hidden well, and it shall have to suffice. Risky to separate myself from the artifact that others may discover it, riskier still to keep it close. In time I will be tempted. I am weak. We all are. We who wouldn't be? Oh, the things I have seen. The tales is here, inside the text. Now, not between the lines, but beneath them, where only our eyes might peer. Go and see it for yourself, that you might succeed where I and others have failed. Time marches on, bringing with it new discoveries and developments, and so at least one day, at least one day the doorway might be opened and the message delivered. They will have their profit. We are growing larger. More make their way to our fortress every day, men and women, young and old, from different lands, of different faiths. Each tells a similar story of having discovered the first part of our creed, that nothing is true. Too often, though, the revelation undoes them. They lose their morality, certainly, security. Many are driven mad. We must guide them, help them to heal. Their mind must not be filled with more than fairy tales, but with knowledge instead. Let them have the answers, and let those answers be difficult and complex. Such is life. Success! We have found a way to alter the structure of a hidden blade, so that it can be used to launch a small projectile. It is capable of grievous damage, even from a great distance. I confess the means by which I came about the discovery risky to say the least, but I found that in one small dose and with a focused mind the apple can be used without ill effect. Or so I hope. The knowledge of the projectile combat is new to us, having been observed among our eastern neighbours, but their weapons were much larger, is sufficient for our needs. I have now found a way to miniaturize their design, embedding their various weapon into a form that can be worn on the wrist. We have also refined the formula for combustion powder, such that common ingredients might be used. This is a dangerous bit of knowledge, and it is best shared with only our closest allies. A dark tide rises to the east, an army of such size and power that all the land is made quick with worry. Their leader is a man named Temujin, who has adopted the title Genghis Khan. He swoops across the land, conquering and summarizing all who stand in his way. Whatever his motives, he must be stopped. Were I younger, I might attempt to undertake this work in secret, as I suspect the presence of a piece of Eden. But those days are years gone now. The mantle must be passed. It is time she and I spoke with our sons. We will travel there together, that they may be tested, and that this threat might be stopped. And the last page. Soon I shall pass from this world. It is my time. All the hours of the day are now coloured by the thoughts and fears born of this realization. I know that the elements of my body will return to the earth, but what of my consciousness, my identity, that is to say, what of me? I suspect it will end, that there is no next world, nor a return to this one. I will simply be done forever. Our lives are so brief and unimportant. The cosmos cares nothing for us. For what we have done, had we wrought evil instead of good, had I chosen to abuse the apple instead of to seal it away, none of it would have mattered. There is no accounting, no reckoning, no final judgment. There is simply silence and darkness, utter and absolute. And so I have begun to wonder, might there not be a way to stop, or at least delay death's embrace? Surely the ones who came before were not so frail and feeble as we. But I have sworn to be done with the artifact, to not gaze into its core. Still, faced as I am with the prospects of my end, what harm is there in one last look? Well, interesting, isn't it? We're going to just end the video here.